Заступників цифрової трансформації, всіх гостей нашої сьогоднішньої події. Дуже всіх радий бачити. Наших партнерів.
Hello, everyone. We welcome our partners and all attendees. You've all been to DIA Summit and you've all seen what we have presented. And I apologize for this taking a bit longer than we initially planned, but it's been a whole swath of products and we couldn't help sharing all of our achievements with you. And you see that today we have presented our results of 2 years of our work. We're quite young, we're only 2 years old, but nevertheless, we're very ambitious. And until 2024, we aim to digitize and bring online all of our public services offered by our state. And this is the overarching goal for everything that we do organizationally and technologically, just to build a digital state in a very brief period of time. So you've seen the presentation of DIA City, and this is something I really believe in. There are multiple residents of DIA City, and these are major companies which employ hundreds of thousands of tech talent worldwide, and I am hopeful that Ukraine will become better known as more than just a tech talent company, but more as a tech product company. But today is, right now we would like to do a continuation of DIA Summit, and we'd like to talk about what's happening in terms of globally and in terms of digital transformation and in the countries which have been working actively towards this direction. Because on the one hand, digital transformation is about convenience and trends and digitized economies and achievements, but on the other hand, it's a challenge. And different countries overcome these challenges in different ways. And for us, it's crucially important to exchange experience and to understand what's happening worldwide. Actually, I have a dream, and I talk about this dream every now and then, because I dream, and I believe that if you can dream something up, eventually you can achieve it. So I dream that in a certain amount of time, in some time, we can hold a summit of all ministers of digital transformation across Europe, where we could share experience, where we could formulate a joint roadmap on what we can do to build a sustainable system where services can be received quickly and where the economy develops disruptively, but nevertheless securely and in a trusted manner. So let's start our international panel discussion. I'd like to say a few words about our speaker, about our dear friend who's going to open this discussion. The first country where I went to after Volodymyr Zelensky was elected president, I became his digital advisor, was Estonia. Estonia was the first country which I was able to visit, and I've been shown around everywhere. I've read a lot about Estonia, but also was able to visit all of the institutions. Estonia is quite a brand in terms of e-governance, and they have implemented the first e-passports and popularized e-passports. They're a country which have implemented e-voting. They're the country who have launched a very successful e-residency program. And it's a company that keeps building on this success with a very successful brand. And of course, we want to catch up with Estonia, but I'd rather say that we would want to go hand in hand by building a brighter digital future together. So it's my pleasure to invite here the president of the Estonian parliament. It's an immense honor for us that you have attended our country and DIA Summit. Yuri Ratas, the president of the Estonian parliament.
Excellencies, dear ladies and gentlemen, First of all, I'm really appreciate for this invitation and the opportunity to be today with you, and also to learn with your different experiences. I will honored to have the opportunity to address you today here at the DIA Summit. You have managed to bring together a wide range of visionaries and experts who will provide us with food for thought on our future action. Digitalization of the democratic societies is an ongoing challenge we need to address both individually and in concert. I can assure you that Estonia is eager to exchange ideas and share our experiences. My country has been a forerunner in digital governance for a couple of decades now. In 1994, when the Parliament signed the first draft policy on digitalization, the basic preconditions for the future developments were already in place: the will, the skills, and the demand. Since then, the X-Road, the digital framework of our society, has become a vital part of our people's everyday life. The next step to take was the initiation of cross-border cooperation with our neighbor, with Finland and Iceland. This cooperation has led to the first concrete results for the citizens. For already over a year, Estonians can fill their medical prescriptions digitally, also in Finland and vice versa. This is a significant advantage in the pandemic-ridden world. This is a very concrete step for our citizens, why different digital solutions are so important and necessary. On the major challenges of the digitalization is the need to speed up the development of new services and make it easier for new players and stakeholders to join the data exchange network. The development must be citizen-focused, and the legislation should support it. Dear friends, I would like to conclude my short remarks with the recognition that digitalization is rarely a question of technology. The technology exists today, right now. Ideally, we need digital-minded leadership that is determined to make e-governments a reality. Estonia had a general push for digitalization in the 1990s, which brought the country to where it is today. I know that your country, Ukraine, has made outstanding progress in the digital governance. The challenges were met and the opportunities taken. We wish you strength on the endless journey building up your fair, open and democratic society. And like you said before, I'm really happy when we could do it together, Ukraine and Estonia. Thank you.
Thank you. Дуже дякую.
Thank you very
Для нас це
much,
честь.
Chairman. For us,
І
it's a
я
huge
хотів
honor.
би зараз кілька слів сказати про нашого наступного спікера. Це моя колега, це віце-прем'єр Словаччини. І насправді ми багато вивчаємо світовий досвід перед тим, як запроваджувати продукти в напрямку цифрової трансформації. Ми вивчаємо досвід інших країн. Ми вивчаємо, які послуги вони запускають, як вони борються з викликами, які є. І на сьогодні Словаччина, напевно, є країною це точно одна з країн, можливо, на першому місці, яка має довгострокову стратегію бачення напрямку цифрової трансформації.
We know that Slovakia has a 2030 strategy, and this is our constant read. We constantly study it, and we would envision to move as fast as you do. We would like to invite Veronika Remisheva, the Vice Premier of Slovakia, and we are happy to invite you here.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, dear Vice Prime Minister, dear friends in Ukraine, dear Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Today's conference tackles one of the most important challenges in our society, which is digital transformation and digital interaction between the state and citizens, between the state and businesses. I accepted this invitation with a really great joy and respect for our neighbors and friends, whom we are very close because we share our common history. We both made a long way from transformation from Soviet centrally planned economy to the market economy, and we both faced similar challenges. So we have Ukrainian people and Slovak people have a lot of things common. Today is a safer internet day, which is very important, especially for today's conference, because we live in a time we are threatened from the internet by disinformation, by hoaxes, which destabilize state institutions and democratic system. And the tensions in the eastern part of Europe are partly a result of the hoaxes, propaganda that so many people are exposed on the social networks. This is why I'm very happy that also European Union has acted and agreed on a common comprehensive and systematic approach to tackle disinformation, to tackle propaganda, and also to regulate the platforms. Now let me turn to our host. Ukraine can be source of inspiration for us, and approach to digitalization as one of the government key priorities. This is also something we can learn from. Citizens of Ukraine use digital IDs and the fast-growing IT sector, and IT is becoming one of the most attractive industries in the country, with more than 4,000 technology companies. The fact that Ukraine has 23,000 graduates of technical fields of study which are entering the labor market every year also demonstrates great potential of digitalization in Ukraine. And I think that this is not a result of chance, but this is a result of systematic approach, and this is a result of system which is set up in the right way. So I really congratulate our Ukrainian partner on their way to digitalization. And I think we are here today to draw inspiration from the solutions that work in Ukraine and to share our own experience. I will just point out to three big challenges in the digital transformation, or I would call them prerequisite conditions to successful digital transformation of society. The first one is cybersecurity. Cybersecurity, digital services must be secure for citizens to trust them. Second one is digital skills. To be able to use digital services, the citizens need at least a basic to intermediate level of digital literacy, which is a problem especially for vulnerable groups and citizens at risk of digital poverty. And the third requirement is availability. Citizens can only harness the benefits of a digital transformation if the area of region have good quality internet coverage. Let me share very briefly our Slovak experiences. The first challenge in the cybersecurity challenge, we try to, with each investment in digital transformation, we also invest in cybersecurity. Today we are witnessing a rise of number of cyber attacks, and we must reduce as much as possible the option for hackers to use and exploit system vulnerabilities. So we are tackling two key factors in this regard: robust security infrastructure and continuous upskilling and enhancing security awareness of the institution staff, which is very important. The second challenge is digital literacy and digital skills. Digital gap, we saw in Slovakia that digital gap has been further widened by the pandemic and by the current labor trends shifting a significant part of the working population to the home environment, the transfer of interaction at work, and by the state to the online space. And what we see, I think this is similar in Ukraine, we see that the digital gap starts at more or less 45 plus. And at the same time, the use of the internet also starts to fall. So age is one of the most important factors in embracing digital technology. That's why we decided to tackle the digital gap and digital poverty, because for people aged 15 to 45, the internet users, we have uptaking of internet about 90 to 95%. But for 45 plus, and especially in the age group 65 to 74, the population has very low digital or no skills. Senior citizens also use computer to a lesser degree. So we are deciding to launch a national program which is unique in history of Slovakia, and we are launching the largest program in order to provide digital skills trainings for all senior citizens in Slovakia. We will train them in four modules. First one is digital skills, basic intermediate digital skills, then fight against disinformation and fight against digital fraud. So at the end of the program, we will equip seniors passing the training with IT equipment and data connection, because this is a real problem. And I saw that our Ukrainian friend has launched the same program with providing a smartphone in order that senior citizens access to the DIA services. The third major challenge in the digital transformation, as I said, is availability. Slovakia is making very fast progress, while in 2006, less than 1 in 3 people had internet access. Now it's about 90% of population has internet access, but we see that it's very important, especially in the remote area and for vulnerable group, to have reliable internet connection for every household. Therefore, we approved last year a broadband plan, national broadband plan, which envisaged providing all households by 2030 with an ultra-fast internet connection. I think that if these 3 requirements are met, a country can succeed in building a truly digital society and truly digital services. We also launched anti-bureaucratic revolutions. We suppressed the most used papers and bureaucracy in our administration, so people do not need to submit the most frequently required certificates and statements, which will save us around 40 million euro per year. So successful digitalization also saved a lot of money, saved more money than you invest in. Let me finish with the last remark, which is necessity of international cooperation. I think this is essential, and this summit is therefore is very important. It's a very important platform for both identifying challenges and searching for common solution, because it's hard to achieve effective regulation and more human digital environment only on local level. I would say it's almost impossible. The world today is very interconnected, and we need common digital regulation and interconnected solutions, such as, for example, Green Pass at the EU level is a very good solution, and then also cooperation with Ukraine was a successful example. So I would like to thank you, the Ukrainian partners, for organizing the Digital Summit, which is extremely important step and source of mutual inspiration. Thank you. Good luck, friends.
Дякую.
Thank you. As you can see, we have lots of similar ways of digital transformation. And really, we can now achieve the international level to create common projects, to launch international projects. And the quickness, the speed, how we joined the European digital market with COVID certifications was also the signal that we know how to move quickly forward and launch our projects. The next country is one of the first which approved in Europe the program of mobile government. That is one of the first countries which said that we would like to create mobile-first country. And this is the country which we also rely upon while researching how we can construct the convenient country where the first interaction with the state will be done through the mobile app. That is why I'd like to invite, and it will be interesting for everybody to listen to the experience of this country, that is Austria. I would like to give the floor to the head of the telecommunication department of the Ministry of Austria, Andreas Reichert, and we will definitely get to know what's the vision of the digital country now and what is now working on and developing in the Austrian government. We do give the floor to you.
Dear Excellency, dear ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let me say thank you for having me here in the Ukraine. It's an honor to be part of this event, and I'm highly glad to exchange our experiences in Austria in the topics of digitalization and expansion of the digital infrastructure. Today, Europe is more than ever economically challenged when it comes to global competition with the USA, China, and of course with Russia. The prosperity of tomorrow can no longer be taken for granted. One answer to the new challenges are economically strong and successful regions. Europe's regions are the most important backbone and asset in global competition as we know it today. With the focus on regions, new location factors have come into focus, above all the digital infrastructures like broadband and 5G. While the location factor infrastructure with regard to road, rail or energy has already played a relevant role in the success of a location, the impact of digital infrastructures in particular is essential for a sustainable rebound. The current Austrian infrastructure report clearly shows that the expansion of digital infrastructures in Austria's rural areas, in which more than 40% of the local population live, has a special leverage effect. These calculations underline the importance of digital infrastructure as a true productivity booster for our regions. It is important to us as a ministry that we do not leave such potential behind. Investments in digital infrastructure are paying off for all our regions. Broadband expansion is therefore being ambitiously continued in Austria. Every euro we invest nationwide, fast broadband internet is an investment in the future of Austria as a center of commerce and industry. So far, 1 billion euros has been invested into broadband development, with an additional 1.4 billion coming from the new broadband billion investment package, which will be invested into broadband infrastructure and applications. The corona crisis in particular has shown the importance of fast internet for all of us. From remote working to homeschooling, to digital official channels or online SIG certificates. On the one hand, the citizens benefit from the broadband expansion. On the other hand, also the companies in Austrian regions. By 2030, we want to provide our country with nationwide gigabit-capable connections. This is a major goal that we can definitely only achieve together with the communities, countries, companies and regions. In addition to providing infrastructure, it is equally important to raise the awareness and empower rural populations for the digital era and possible applications. For example, knowledge and innovative software solutions and digital skills are crucial. Our ministry also supports pilot initiatives to gather more knowledge on the needs of digital rural communities, innovative local governments and young generations. Another emphasis lies on sharing knowledge on gigabit applications, as well as the success factors for rural co-working initiatives. When it comes to raise awareness, we run, for example, a so-called Gigabit Academy. That's a new format where top companies share their knowledge in the field of gigabit applications with others. Goal is to enhance the use of gigabit and 5G. The academy will start in April. Another example, in Carinthia, for example, we developed a tailor-made program for teachers and pupils of an agricultural school, making them familiar with new technologies like 3D printing and innovation culture. In Lower Austria, we aim to strengthen rural communities by demonstrating the power of novel software solutions. And in 4 rural areas in Austria, we test pop-up office spaces in villages. These programs are the foundation for novel funding schemes like co-working shacks starting also this year, which will ensure the rural population can harvest all benefits of digital infrastructures. Because one thing is certain, digital lifelines are the best connection to the future, especially for structurally weak regions. This applies not only to Austria, but to all of us, for whole Europe, and of course, also it counts for the Ukraine. So we are ready to share all our experiences with you and your country, and we are ready to enter into bilateral talks, cooperations, to develop joint ideas, because the digitization is our future, and I think we should start with our cooperation. The sooner the better. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Andreas. And now we'll have a short break between the international experience, and we'd like to give the floor to our partner of our Dia Summit, the company of Visa, Vera Platonova. This is the company which helps us launch all of our digital payment services, and we have rather ambitious plans for this year. Thank you for your support in Dia Summit. Please meet Vera Platonova. Hello, dear friends. Mikhailo. Well, in fact, I'm a very active user of Dia app, and every time when I open Dia, I'm really impressed because there are new and new services emerging. But today I'm impressed as well because the summit is really conducted at the highest level, and I was not even expecting for that. So I do congratulate all of you and us as well, ourselves, as we are the partners of this summit, and we are proud of the fact that we are the partner of the Ministry of Digitalization and the State of Ukraine in the development of digital society. Well, altogether, when I'm looking at the last 2 or 3 years of pandemic, it is obvious that without DIA app, we wouldn't achieve the format which we are having now. I mean the comfort, the convenience for the people in the use of the state and public services. For instance, different subsidies, payments, and for instance, their support. As with such a speed, how the state was able to provide support to the people who have vaccinated, we would never be able to do it with the same speed before. And I've never heard that it would be possible in any other country of the world. I will tell you even the following. We are creating a business case now within the whole campaign, within the whole payment system, to inform other countries how Ukraine achieved such a level of cooperation and interaction with our citizens, and we provide them support just in minutes, in several minutes. I would like to tell a bit about the main trends and what we can see now is taking place in the world as for the financial sector. It's obvious that this is the embedded finances, and today we can see that the payment is almost not noticeable. We don't notice how we pay for the communal services or fines or whatever we need to pay for. So now we really would like DIA app to be even more integrated into the digital society and for the people to feel this simplicity, to pay easier, not only with the credit card or contactless way from the cell phone, but also in DIA app. Another big leap was done by Ukrainian state, and the central bank and the ministry is the law on the payment services and the new laws which we are expecting for instance, about the cryptocurrencies, because the cryptocurrencies is also a very important sphere. In our opinion, it has a very big future. So we are really proud that today the ministry is really helping and supporting the development of paperless approach and paperless society. And we help the development of cashless society. So we really have a similar goal and the common task that is even more during the next years to bring Ukraine to the next level of digital society, and society which is not only knowing how to use such apps, but is totally transparent, because DIA app is the way towards transparency of the society we are striving so much for. That is why I need to add that we have rather substantial breakthroughs with the Ministry of Digital Transformation, with the Ministry of Infrastructure, with the Ukrainian Railroad, and the Ministry of Digitalization is also supporting these branches of work for people to be able to pay for their needs in DIA app and in the physical world and any other way. So altogether, it's also important to say that Ukraine during the last recent years has become the world leader, one of the world leaders at least, from the perspective of the speed of the growth of cashless payments. As of today, 70% of all of the payments in Ukraine are really cashless. And e-com and what is done through Dia app is growing 5 or 6 times. That is why it seems to me that we are now an example as the country, and we, as the payment system, are gladly and happily telling other countries and similar ministries, newly created ministries, which are just created in lots of countries of the world. We would be really happy if Dia app will be exported to different countries as well. So thank you so much. Thank you. Well, in fact, we are really working on cashless, and rather soon we will present the common strategy with the National Bank of Ukraine about the implementation of the e-hryvnia, e-currency, and we are working on the virtual assets. There was the line law draft adopted. We need one more, in fact, voting. I think it will be done in a month. And we will become even more friendly as a country as for the virtual assets of different types and kinds. Those are the really close plans to implement this project, so we're moving along this way as well. We're moving on now, and today we have presented lots of new products at Dia Summit, but we didn't hear today about such a project as digitalization in the sphere of justice. But we are working on that. For instance, we are working on the e-notary services, and in the end of this year we are planning to launch lots of new products in this sphere. This is the fundamental, the basic reform. We're working with the Ministry of Justice on this reform, and of course we are studying the world experience. An interesting one was from Armenia. When we were studying the experience of this country, it was interesting for us what is taking place, because we could see that there is the breakthrough in e-justice in Armenia. So today we have the digital representative of Armenia, Aik Magarian, who is the director of the National Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. You've heard today that the topic of entrepreneurship is rather important for us as well. So I give the floor to our next speaker now, please.
Вітаю учасників Dia Summit.
I do welcome the
Your
Dia Summit
Excellencies,
participants.
dear ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. Thank you for such a beautiful event. And this is just wonderful how much great work you have done in Ukraine within this small 2-year period. And it's a great experience for us, for Armenia, to share with you as well. And just before I start, I just need to say that we are just one day here in Ukraine and have already met so many positive and very hospitable people, and you are more than welcome to visit Armenia. We are here with the representatives of the Ministry of High Tech, the Embassy of Armenia, the executive team of the National Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. Our Minister of High Tech, he was sending his best regards, and now he's planning to become a president of Armenia, so you will probably meet him in a different position. And so let me briefly present to you our trends in Armenia. Next slide, please. So, top 3 trends, as we think in Armenia, are very important. At this point, first AI as a driver. We know that startups like, for example, in Armenia, like Crisp, Super Annotate with the AI at the core are building a momentum and in Armenia, and this is becoming a focus for us. Second is interoperable data. Many pockets of innovation in various public bodies are now coming together to use and process data more effectively. And users should only need to provide information once. Digital for security. Recent events in our region have increased the focus of modern security, spurring interest in security-related startups and cybersecurity in general. Next slide, please. Top three challenges we think are very actual. First is keeping up. Private sector innovation happens fast, and citizens expect a similar level of service from digital public service. Recruitment into new skill areas. Digitalization requires new skills in the public sector with the competitive workforce environment. This poses challenges for recruitment of tech roles like data analysts. And third is standardization. This creating sporadic innovations is good, but users need a consistent service. Rolling out standards to already existing live services is a challenge. Next slide, please. Our vision is to build a new generation of digital government services that are secure and simple to use, making digital services the first choice for our users when interacting with the government. And our efforts, they have resulted in the emergence of very positive digital trends, like a move towards the provision of managed platforms, strong focus on e-government initiatives like in Ukraine, and emergence of a digital innovation ecosystem. We have just launched recently this new National Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship under the Ministry of Economy, and which is going to be actively promoting technology transfer office in Armenia, as we think this is very important for mostly post-Soviet countries. And we started focusing on putting emphasis on our diaspora, which is, as you know, very largely presented in Silicon Valley and many other places. Next slide, please. What is the digital service standard? A set of guidelines designed to ensure that all digital services provided by the Armenian government are consistent, secure, and simple to use. The standards will comprise of design guidelines, technology principles, cybersecurity standards, business transformation, procurement, etc. And anyone building services for the Armenian government will need to ensure them to meet the standards, like, again, world best practices. And next slide, please. All the new digital government services will be regularly assessed to ensure they comply with the digital standard, service standard. Please, next slide, please. Dear distinguished guests, thank you very much. Feel free to be in touch with us. Please visit Armenia. We are more than happy to cooperate with Ukraine and help each other to integrate in this big new digital world. Thank you very much. I wish you peace and success to your country. Дякую. Thank you.
Thank you. So, I would like to give the floor now to a friend of Ukraine, a person who is representing the support group of reforms in Ukraine, the person who is investing most of all of energy among all of our partners for us to join the unified digital market of Europe, the person who I knew even before. Not so many people who I knew in this sphere before I became the Ministry of Digital Transformation, the person who believes in us, who helps us to digitalize our state. This is Tunnel Tongue, so I do give the floor to you, please.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues, distinguished guests. I'm very happy to be here and speak in this very important summit. For me, this is the first DIA summit, but of course, as I followed for many years your success, I see how actually you have impressively developed even within 1 year. As Mikhailo, you mentioned, I represent the support group for Ukraine, which supports Ukraine in different areas of reform. And this also includes digital transformation. We have the biggest digital transformation support program in third countries in Ukraine. And of course, we work very closely together with our delegation here and also the implementing partners from Estonia and Spain in implementing this. What I would like to focus on in my short presentation is 3 areas when it comes to the EU-Ukraine cooperation, how we have been impressed what Ukraine has done, and then also perhaps 3 points which we find more challenging. I think the first point that needs to be stressed also very much in the context what was correctly mentioned by the Slovakian Deputy Prime Minister is the reaction of Ukraine to the overall cybersecurity context, because one could very easily say after those attacks, cyber attacks that Ukraine experienced already in 2014, that let's close the internet, let's not consider internet as an opportunity. I think what Ukraine has shown, Mikhailo, what your teams have shown is just completely the opposite. You have fully embraced internet. And I remember when we were together in Estonia 2019, you were still at that time advisor to President Zelensky. And actually, President was not President Zelensky yet. He was still trying to become the president. So you were in his team. And I think that what I remember you saying, all those things that you want to do, and I must tell you honestly that I didn't think you will be able to do all that you did actually. So in my view, impressive development, impressive push from you and from your colleagues. Now the second point is the integration with the European Union. Ukraine has defined digital as an area where Ukraine can be further integrated with the European Union, and there is a very solid legal basis for this. There is EU-Ukraine Association Agreement, and this agreement provides possibility for Ukraine to benefit from internal market treatment in telecommunication services. This is something that no other country can get without the full membership of the European Union, and of course it assumes that Ukraine approximates itself with the EU legislation. And also this is an area where Ukraine has made substantial progress, adopting legislation on electronic communications, also on the telecommunication regulator and many other legal acts. Also, based on Ukraine's interest, we have launched EU-Ukraine cybersecurity dialogue. Ukraine is the first Eastern Partnership country with whom we have done that. And we have also a joint action plan on electronic trust services, which should lead to a mutual recognition between the EU and Ukraine, which would have to be based on the EU standards. Now, I think that a very important aspect to stress here is that this is a practical thing for the Ukrainian citizens and for Ukrainian businesses, because it provides more opportunities, possibilities to interact with the EU. But it is also a politically very important step, because basically it can be an area that would or could spill over to other areas in integration. So I think symbolically, Ukraine is very much on the right track to embrace this and cooperate further with us on this. Now, the third area, I think that it was also clear from the presentations today that Ukraine has a very dynamic sector where you have lots of people very quickly learning, and also young people very able to adapt to the new era. And I think that this is particularly important also to stress in the context where the Ministry of Digital Transformation works together with different private initiatives, and a very good example how public and private sides of the society work together. I would also like to stress the access, very good access, that the EU officials always have at different levels to the Minister of Digital Transformation. This is you, Mikhailo. You can always be called. Even at my level, I'm only the head of the support group's policy and coordination team, but also your other colleagues like Oleksiy Viskup, Alexander Shelest, and others. So I think that this is a good way and also helps us to work together with you. Now, very quickly, 3 areas where definitely we would not like to be pedagogical, but where we think that we can enhance our cooperation. I think one is definitely the implementation of legislation. I mentioned earlier that you have made progress in approximation. This is definitely true, but I think from our point of view, it's also very important that important pieces of legislation like electronic communication code and telecom regulator get implemented. And I know that you are in the track of doing it, and you can also count on our support. Second point is about the broadband development. I think that during the discussions earlier, this was very well covered. Ukraine is a big country, and I think that in making sure that digital state is indeed accessible to everyone, the broadband development has to cover the entire country. And of course, from the EU side, we can commit to supporting this through also engagement with the European Investment Bank. Third point, I think that I can, in the current security context, not overstress the importance of cybersecurity. This idea of designing your services and everything that you do in having security in mind is very, very important. So I think that being open to new ideas, being innovative is absolutely fine. But I think that when it comes to the overall security situation, which is not likely to change, I think this security by design and cyber security is very, very, very important. Now, final point. What you have done today, this presentation, I think that this is something that you should definitely do also in Western Europe. in the EU capitals. You should, I know that you have a plan to do something similar in the framework of the preparation for the Lugano Reform Conference. I would encourage you to do that and do even more than that, because this is really an area where Ukraine is able to present its very strong European face and modernity and the progress, the enormous progress that the country has made and still continues to make today. Thanks a lot, Mikhailo, for this opportunity, and wish to everyone all the best.
Дякую, Танел.
Thank you, Tunnel. The next country which can be boasting with its wonderful internet, the coverage of optic internet for more than 92%, and we also were starting the experience of this country in this sphere. We also were starting the experience of this country in the dissemination of the creation of pop culture in digitalization, because more than 60% of citizens are using e-services there, which witnesses about a certain culture of the development and implementation of digital services. And it's very interesting for us to get to know about the experience of the data office creation to stimulate the development of the economy of data, because we're also actively moving forward, developing open data, and for us this experience is rather important. This country is Spain, and I would like to give the floor to the ambassador of Spain to Ukraine, Silvia Josephine Cortes Martin. Please.
Yes.
That's definitely not Silvia.
Good morning, dear Excellence. In behalf of the Spanish ambassador, I am participating as a team leader of the European project EU for Digital Ukraine. Good morning to everybody who are here, present here, especially to all those who follow us through streaming. Thank you very much for the invitation and my congratulations for the organization of this event. It is a great pleasure for me to participate in this roundtable sharing experience of and future trends toward a digital economy and society with distinguished international representatives. The situation resulting from the pandemic has accelerated the digitalization process in my country, and we have verified that the present and the future of employment, commerce, training, public service are and will be more digital. For this reason, my government has placed the digital transformation of Spain as a priority in the highlight level in the modernization plans, making significant public investments, largely from the Next Generation EU funds. There are public resources that allow private investment to be mobilized and digitization to be promoted across the board, especially in those sectors which the greatest impact on our economy and with better future prospects. I would like to refer to the digitalization of public administration as an example of digital transformation initiative which an impact of the daily life of our citizens and companies. Through the project in strategic public areas such as employment, health, and social security. In my country, as the European Union, we believe that digital administration must be citizen-oriented, which is why we promote digital public service that are accessible through different devices, particularly through mobile device, and should count on friendly and easy to use digitally identified model for everyone. From the technological point of view, we apply the main innovative and disruptive trends in the market, such as the use of automation and artificial intelligence solutions that reduce management times and provide faster service to citizens, improving the internal efficiency of administration. The use of technological advance linked to the data economy and the use of predictive model, for example, in the digitalization of the health administration, and reinforcing the capacity of public administration in cybersecurity through a comprehensive and coordinated strategy with other national and European entities. It should be noted that this important digital administration initiative would not have been successful if the necessary regulatory and digital governance reform had not been promoted at the same time, which are essential for advancing in the processes and legal guarantees of public administration. This has allowed Spain have a good position in digital administration in the European context, ranking number 7 in the Digital Economy and Society Development Index, DESI, 2021, among the 26 member states from the European Union. Finally, let me highlight the work of the Spanish Public Foundation, FIAP, which, together with the Estonian Electronic Governance Academy, manage the project EU Support for Electronic Administration and the Digital Economy of Ukraine, EU for Digital UA, which funds from the delegation of the European Union in Ukraine. This collaboration allows the public administration of Ukraine to share the best practice in the digitalization of the member state of the European Union, in addition to achieve mutual benefit, not only to take advantage of the opportunity offered by the digital transformation for our society, but also to promote economic activity in Ukraine and in the European Union, in particular within the digital single market. Thank you very much.
Дякую дуже.
Thank you so much. The next country has also a successful experience in the development of a mobile app, and this audience almost achieves 1 million of active users. And this is rather representative for our experience, the speed of the development of a mobile app. So this country is also actively developing the network to get offline public services, which we analyze as well in the dynamics of the development of this network and what's needed to be done to improve the quality of the administrative services even more. This country is Azerbaijan, so I'd like to give the floor to the advisor from the Embassy of Azerbaijan, Sabir Mirzaev. Please, the floor is yours.
Шановний Михайло Альбертович, пане, панове, дорогі друзі, по-перше, хочу сказати, що дуже
I'm so happy to take part at the event with such an important topic, and it's a big honor for me to have an opportunity to speak with you, so I'm really grateful for the invitation.
I'm not a professional of the given sphere, that's why I've prepared brief information about digital transformation in Azerbaijan. How do we see it? Development of high technologies and innovations based on digital technologies is considered as a main pillar of socio-economic development in Azerbaijan. We understand that digitalization can raise the efficiency of the existing processes, strengthen the economic potential and welfare in a shorter period of time. Colleagues mentioned about the lessons, experiences gained from COVID-19 pandemic. Yes, it really showed us how unprepared we were in terms of digitalization. But it also enabled us to evaluate the importance of digital transformation for the economy. Research proved that the states with higher digitalization index were more ready against the economic shocks, also the one caused by pandemic. Including the experience learned from the pandemic, Azerbaijan considers the digital transformation as a priority. The goals set out in Azerbaijan can be listed in 3 directions. Actually, this is the material I gathered. I'm not professional, how I understand the goals and achievements. The first is the level, social level. We wait from the digitalization as the benefit, like the digital technologies will make the services and goods more qualitative and reachable. It will strengthen the living standards, create new non-traditional workplaces, and improve the accessibility to education. The second is the benefits for entrepreneurship, business, Digitalization simplifies the knowledge and information exchange for the companies, enables better and easier provisional and outsourcing opportunities, enables better and new market access, more efficient use of the resources, raises the efficiency of the manufacturing process, quality of the product. And the third one is the state government level. The digitalization can and will, facilitate prompt decision-making, efficient governance, transparent services to the population, effective implementation of the tax policy, efficient use of the resources, inclusive development. Shortly about the key trends, achievements, in Azerbaijan, the sphere of the digital transformation and innovations. The first, I can mention the one of the 5 priorities of the document newly adopted in Azerbaijan, this is Vision 2030, is the innovative society. Digital transformation is the most important of these steps. In this regard, the government has elaborated a 5-year digital transformation strategy. Actually, the strategy is in the process of finalization, so I'm not fully ready to provide the detailed information, but it is planned to cover all the mentioned goals, 3 goals, But we already initiated structural reforms. We train and prepare the population for the newly emerging professions. We promote the private sector's participation in these processes. Worth to mention that Azerbaijan widely uses innovative approach in the process of the restoration of the territories liberated in 2020. Smart cities and smart villages, as well as green energy concept, is taken as a backbone of these works. Azerbaijan Digital Hub project envisages the creation of the Digital Silk Road, a giant digital corridor between Asia and Europe, which will strengthen the role of the region in the establishment of the fiber optic corridor from Hamburg to Shanghai, as well as improve the access of millions to internet and digital services. The second one is the establishment of eGov Development Center. As His Excellency mentioned, the services provided by the government to the population, but not limited to. It's a coordinating body in the change of enforcing supervision in the field of formulation, implementation, integration, and effective management of public information resources and systems. The successful integrated part of this platform is Azerbaijan Service and Assessment Network. Abbreviation is ASAN service. By the way, ASAN means easy in Azerbaijani language. The initiative is aimed to make services more easily accessible to citizens using modern technologies. This is the one-stop shop based locations and also online opportunities that bring together government entities and private companies providing more than 300 services in a public-private partnership. The satisfaction of the citizens having access services stands at the rate of 100%. And the last one I have to mention, Azerbaijan has accepted the challenges of the fourth industrial revolution and possesses tremendous potential to become the regional digital hub. To coordinate these efforts, we have established the Center for Analysis and Coordination of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, which will be mostly concentrating on artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, machine learning, and digital trade-related issues and projects. By the way, this is the first such center established in the CIS region. It is operational, but the official inauguration will be organized on 23rd February with the participation of the President of the World Economic Forum. So this is the recap of what do we do. We try for and what we have achieved in. We have a long way to go, we understand, but we take rapid actions. By the way, I'm half year here in Ukraine, and I'm really much impressed what you achieved here in Ukraine, guys. And you know that Azerbaijan and Ukraine have very close cooperation in many economic spheres, transportation, trade, agriculture, even humanitarian, like culture, education, this and that. But why don't we try the IT? Because with the ambitions we have put forward, we need many specialists, many IT specialists. And I think that Ukraine can be very useful in this regard, not only with this, with the education program, knowledge, experience, and preparation of the IT professionals. We have already good example of cooperation on an international multilateral basis. For example, Guam organization, where we cooperate on the initiatives like application of the blockchain technologies, paperless trade, etc. In conclusion, I wish to highlight that we probably have to be ready to benefit from the emerging digital transformation opportunities, because this is not the option anymore, this is the irrevocable necessity. Thank you.
Дуже дякую. У нас є
Thank you very much. We would like to have some closing remarks by a person who represents an organization and a project who is responsible for the most anti-corruption projects in Ukraine, the Tapas project, Danilo Molchanov, and we've launched a number of projects together with Tapas, supported by USAID, and we continue working on such things as the reform in the construction sphere. We have been able to defeat corruption in places where nobody could reach it, and right now we're working on such things as electronic excise tax. Good afternoon. It's an honor for me to sum up this important and rich discussion. It was very interesting for me to see the presentations by other countries and to realize that we have been moving in a very similar direction. And right now, I'd like to sum up some of the trends and some of the presentations. So where is our digital services moving towards? And how should we as a state treat our fellow citizens and their needs? And how do we minimize the time that they need to spend on accessing our services and improve our systems and also improve their user experience? Slide, please. I will not say anything new or reveal any particular secret here, but let me say this. Ukraine has had a significant boost in the previous years, and we, as an international technical assistance project, have appeared actually earlier than the ministry has appeared. But we have found, very quickly, we have found points of synergy. And before the ministry has appeared, we started working on some draft legislation which have been adopted thanks to our wide-reaching parliamentary support. And we have been cooperating very globally and systematically in order to not just launch some standalone services, but to actually build an ecosystem of data interchange in Ukraine. And services have been transforming, and we see that human centering has been at the heart of DIA, and it's very heartwarming to see that. So from a one-stop shop, we actually transitioned to a no-stop shop concept, which means that you have to be able to get services when you need them, how you need them, spending the least possible amount of time and energy. And this has been stressed many times today. And I'd like to mention several principles and the concept of the future which we're striving towards. Slide, please. I'd like to start with interoperability. And I think it brings me joy that the Tapas project actually started talking about this as early as 5 years ago. We were probably the first. And right now, this is a staple. Everybody understands what interop is. And we've been able to reach significant progress in making our information systems work together and making them able to understand each other. And you see that DIA actually interacts and interoperates with a number of public-run systems. And that's a cornerstone for providing quality and timely services to the population and the businesses. So these systems are part of the DIA ecosystem in the social spheres, in the environmental protection spheres, and also in the construction spheres. Next slide, please. We are working towards proactive services, which means it's not the citizen has to apply for something to get something from the state, but it is the state that has to think in advance and care about its citizen, even if the citizen tends to forget. So right now we're thinking about creating a new generation of state services which are going to be even more convenient and even less noticeable to the citizens and businesses. As an example, for example, appointment of pensions and providing taxpayer identification numbers to our fellow citizens. And things such as reminders and automatic renewals of some documents when they expire. And things such as reappointing or appointing of state assistants. And Ukraine is actually approaching this head-on. We are very ready to start implementing this at scale. Today we've also mentioned such compound services, such as eBaby. Today we are also building our e-entrepreneurship project, which would be compound and complex services for business, composite services for businesses, where businesses could get several services in one application, some of which we strive to be predictive, which means that by applying for one service, a business or a citizen would get proposals for follow-up services. Let's say if you registered a business, you would get offers on an array of services which will allow you to get a permit, a license. So the system will guide you through the necessary steps. So, in our opinion, the government has to be so convenient that it actually has to compete with businesses. I mean, people are used to businesses creating very convenient and frictionless services for their users. And it's very important to point out that the state finally catches up and starts to actually compete with some major businesses. Next slide, please. Something I would want to point out, an important factor for this progress and creating this ecosystem for public services are their cloud transition, their virtualization. This is a major trend. And if you're following, if you've been following what Amazon, Microsoft, Azure, and others have been up to, you see the amount of humongous investment that they are putting into the cloud. We see that cloud computing, and we have mentioned the draft law on clouds, which is under consideration in the parliament. Cloud computing is about increasing security, decreasing the cost, and providing and offloading professional support of the systems which are being created in the country. We, as a non-affiliated project, we can get a bird's eye view of what's happening. And right now, what we believe is important is saving funds on compute resources and ensuring security and interoperability. And finally, final slide, please. From trends, I would like to transition to challenges. And I haven't been talking to other representatives of other countries, but it looks like we are talking about the same things. Cyber security is the cornerstone today, but I would like to reiterate that convenience and security are usually linked in a reverse proportion. Usually, the more security, the more secure a service is, the more cumbersome and the less convenient it is. So here, we really need to strike a balance. It has to be just the right amount of security and convenience. And of course, we need to take utmost care of personally identifiable information and things such as behavioral indicators and personal data of our citizens. Digital skills, very important, a very important challenge. And thanks to the separate department in the Ministry of Digital Transformation called DIA Digital Education. This is a very important thing we're doing with DIA, and we're also on board with us helping develop digital competencies for both public officials and citizens at large. Also, digital accessibility. We see that this is something that requires a lot of attention. Attention's being paid to it in Ukraine, but we need even more of that. We are actively studying the best practices of other countries, and we want to make our services as inclusive as possible. They need to be accessible from any device at any time and in a way which would be the most convenient to the citizens. And then broadband access has been mentioned several times, and we have perhaps we have the cheapest internet access in the region, but we still have a lot of room to grow. There is a deputy minister, and there's a whole team behind the deputy minister who are working on this, and the results are very noticeable. And, you know, when I travel, even when I take a train, I feel the results of their work. I get less and less and less blind spots with every trip. And by blind spots, I mean 2G and 3G. Right now, very fast internet is accessible and reliable. And to wrap up, I would like to wish all of us to move forward, to follow the trends, and to cooperate and share. Because in synergy, we are definitely stronger together. And we definitely learn and study the fact sheets which are published by the European Commission, which is a very instrumental thing to exchange experience. So let's stay healthy, let's stay positive, and let's stay secure.
Thank you, Daniel. By the way, I would like to emphasize two important ideas, in my opinion. First, that the services are becoming in the format of one-stop shop. We don't have the one-stop shop so far. Well, they exist and they develop, but what I mean, it's a different philosophy. The services shouldn't be noticeable at all. They should be integrated into the life situations so much that they shouldn't be even noticed. And if it becomes the interface for the public services, it will be the proper way forward. We are moving along this way, creating infrastructure, and would like our services to be not that obvious in the interaction with businesses and entrepreneurs. It will be the proper way to do. Another important idea is that business is digitalizing so quickly in the world. The companies which are working all over the world are coming into the countries and they are creating the new consumer culture. We cannot imagine, for instance, some online cinemas where we would need to spend so much time to buy a movie. Or, for instance, we cannot even imagine that there cannot be a bank without the offices where we can easily get any financial service. The world is changing and the behavior of the people is changing, and it impacts on how we, the governments, need to launch digital services. That is why in Ukraine we are creating the new culture of the service launch, where the services should be convenient, the philosophy is mobile first, and the services should be not that obvious or noticeable. That is why, coming to the final of our meeting, I would like to thank you that you have spent several hours together with us at Dia Summit. You were listening to us, you were excited or worried by us, you were fans of digital transformation in Ukraine, you joined our panel discussion. So this is the first step to implement the dream of our team to make an international meeting, an international summit of ministries of digital transformations, or CDTOs, or managers of digital transformations of different countries which are changing our world. I'm sure that during the next year or 2 years we'll create this summit, and after that we'll have a new energy emerging, new energies all over the world which will change our planet. Thank you so much to everybody for your attention, for what you're doing, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.